Inconvenience to the Lord. Yes. Gopis. Yes. Yes. That headache story. Yeah. Any pujari in the hot season, summer season, the pujaris will stay inside the altar, and sometimes it's not really comfortable. But for the worship of the Lord, they're always there, right? And Matra Sparshas to Kaunteya 2.14, Prabhupada gives two examples in the purport. One example he gives of yogis, that yogis tolerate a lot of inconvenience. And the other example, anybody knows what Prabhupada gives? Hmm. Yeah. Yes. So that is one. But in 2.14, you're right. But in 2.14, one example Prabhupada gives is that of yogis. Another example he gives of housewives who are cooking in the hot season. So he says that's tolerance. So yes, in the DT kitchen, in the summertime, they are cooking for the Lord, and sometimes it's really very hot. But for the convenience of the deities, they will undergo inconveniences. And when we undergo inconvenience for somebody in a relationship, will it nourish the relationship? So if we accept inconvenience for the convenience of the Lord, then will this relationship will also be nourished? And what is that relationship between the eternal Lord and the eternal Jiva? What is it called? Bhakti. So one way to nourish bhakti is to just simply accept, as per our capacity, inconvenience for a higher cause of convenience to the Lord. So sometimes we wonder how to become a better devotee. Should I chant more? Should I dance more? What should I do? Should I do Ekadashi more strictly? In a very simple principle-based way, if we just understand, whenever we accept inconvenience to increase the convenience of the Lord, that is nourishing our relationship. Yes. In our Juhu temple, there's a long story behind it. And one of the devotees, she was a female, she was there at that time. She mentions that in the early days, when I'll just speak in two sentences. The person who offered that land to ISKCON was basically trying to cheat ISKCON. Because he saw that many of Prabhupada's followers that time were Westerners and they don't know the laws of India. And Swamiji is too busy because he was traveling all over the world. So basically it was a trap to get easy money. That land was already sold to one company. There's already litigation going on. And that land under litigation was sold to ISKCON without we knowing it. And as the payment and all was working out with ISKCON, he was already trying to sell it to a third person. Can you imagine the same land at the same time is being sold to three people? So basically he was a crook. And lot of cheating and lot of ups and downs. And many Westerners at that time, His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, they just had to undergo so much physical inconvenience. There is a story of how Tamal Krishna Maharaj one time he went to Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada, I cannot take it. We are Westerners, we need tap water. Because in those days, early days, some permissions were missing. So tap water was not available in the Juhu land. Today you go, it's like a fabulous temple. But at that time, these Westerners had to take out water from a well and all that. So he said, we can't take it. So we need tap water and we need doors. Because everything was open. So Prabhupada said, don't you want to get purified? And Tamal Krishna Maharaj just heard that and just kept quiet. So a lot of things, maybe someday Braj Bihari Prabhu can speak about it. But this female devotee, you know what she says? She says, we have heard of so many stories where devotees accepted inconvenience for the pleasure of the Lord. But in Juhu, the story was different. She says, in Juhu, the deities were tolerating a lot of inconvenience for the convenience of the devotees. Because, 6 offerings have to be made. Whenever you install deities, 6 times cooking. There's no facility. And very, interesting that rats were there all around. And the sewage and all was open. Mosquitoes were there, rats were there, and The landowner was not willing to do anything because all he wanted is you should get frustrated and leave the land, and then he can confiscate the money that was already paid. So there was so much pressure there, but this female devotee, she's really very interesting. She's making that comment. And actually, the deities were tolerating a lot of inconvenience. What was the deity room? There were 4 pillars at 4 corners, and what we usually call chatai. We sleep on the chatai, right? So chatai was the walls of that room, which means whenever wind blew, the chatai would blow. And sometimes the rats are traveling. You've seen sometimes on the pillars of oil. It's a very dirty feeling. And the deities were tolerating all that. Why? Because Prabhupada had mentioned to the deities that please stay here. I will build you a temple. And that whole struggle, how that very beautiful, attractive temple has come up, is there in the form of a book. I will build you a temple by His Holiness Giriraj Swami. So, we usually accept inconvenience for the convenience of the deities, but the deities also accepted inconvenience for the devotees at Juhu. Similarly, devotees will behave in such a way that they will glorify the Lord. There's an English sentence. I don't know God, but I know you. And I might want to know God because I know you. What does this mean? Any lessons from this sentence?
You can guide me to that.
No, not you. You are the organizer. So you are the last person to speak. हिंदी में बोलो. मैं भगवान को नहीं जानता, लेकिन मैं आपको जानता हूं, और शायद आपको जानता हूं, इसलिए भगवान को जानने की इच्छा मेरे मन में आ जाए. What does this mean? Yes.
Following God, like you want me to say it in Hindi, अगर मैं
हाँ?
आपको जानता हूँ,
Yeah.
तो भक्ति के थ्रू अगर आपके आचार विचार,
हाँ.
आपकी भावना, हर
Yes.
किसी के प्रति आपके आगे
Yes.
पीछे,
Yes.
that should make a difference.
Yeah.
That should follow you
Yes.
because they like the way you are.
Yes. So basically, this is that feeling of responsibility that comes from the devotees. That as soon as we put on this tilak, as soon as we are wearing this kanthimala, then there's a lot of responsibility that comes. That people are saying, ordinary people on the street, I don't know God, but I know you. And if your behavior is bad behavior, I don't want to know God. If this is what happens to a person who knows God, I don't want to know. But if you are really a gentleman, so if this is what happens to a person when you become a Vaishnava, I might want to know God. So usually devotees behave in such a way that they will glorify the Lord by their behavior. Any example of this? Not Mataji and not Prabhuji. Think about it. It's not right and wrong. It's about how to. Prahlad, such a sweet boy, and he's being tortured every day in different ways. Never even once he replied in an insulting way to his father. Never once. He's just asking his son. So Prahlad, what did you learn in school? Prahlad said, I learned that Vishnu should be glorified. But he never said, you fool, you'll go to hell because you never accept God. Nothing like that. A very sweet boy. So his behavior is very, very gentlemanly, very respectful. And that is how Prahlad's story cannot be disrespected by anybody. Anybody who hears Prahlad's story is attracted to Prahlad. Why are small boys attracted to Hanuman? You saw this? Any small boy, Hanuman bolenge to khush ho jata hai. He's such a brave person, and all that he did, all Hanuman did, every single act that Hanuman did is for serving the Lord. Can any one of you identify any story? I don't know you much, yes, but in your whole life, anything that Hanumanji did for himself. Very interesting, right? How can you have somebody, all of us are from diverse backgrounds, but it's very difficult to think of something that Hanumanji did for himself. So such a glorious life. He's doing everything that he can for the pleasure of the Lord. So this is how devotees glorify the Lord, right? Today I'm going to speak one story where the Lord did something to glorify the devotees. So till now what we spoke was only the foundation of today's class. Class has not started, sorry. So we'll go ahead. We don't want to stretch too much. So this is basically the Lord trying to behave in such a way that the devotees are glorified. Interesting story. Yeah. So this is many years back, something like 600, 650, 700 years back. There were two Brahmanas. One was elderly and one was a young Brahman. And both of them were from a place called Vidyanagar. And Vidyanagar is roughly the place where the Godavari river meets the Bay of Bengal. Anybody from Andhra Pradesh? So there's a town called Rajamandri. And Rajamandri is there on the banks of Godavari where the river meets the sea. So around Rajamandri, the Vidyanagar. And both of them, they wanted to tour the holy places of India. So from Vidyanagar, incidentally, both of them started together. They went to Gaya. What is famous? What is the famous thing in Gaya? This Vishnu Pad. There is an imprint of the feet of Lord Vishnu. There was one demon called Gaya. And the Lord stepped on him and pushed him into the ground. And even today, the very beautiful imprint of Lord Vishnu's lotus feet is there. So Vishnu Pad is there in Gaya. And that's why all the Shraddha and all, it happens in Gaya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, for his father's Shraddha, Nimai Pandit, he travelled to Gaya. So first they went to Gaya from South India, then they went to Kashi, then they went to Prayag, then they went to Mathura. And from Mathura they toured all the 12 forests of Vrindavan. And then there is a small town called Vrindavan. Like Thane is a district, but there is also a town called Thane. So when you are somewhere around, some Kalyan or something, which district you are in? Thane. But you are not in town Thane. So similarly, Vrindavan is a huge place. When we say Vrindavan, it's like a huge place. But also in modern day, there is a town called Vrindavan. It's called Panchakroshi Vrindavan. It's a boundary of Vrindavan, but actually Vrindavan is much more. So there in Vrindavan, there is a very beautiful temple of Govindji. Govindji is one of the most famous deities of Vrindavan, and they were discovered by Rupa Goswami. And just to tell you this, Govindji, when Krishna was there, he was available, his darshan was available to everyone. But when he disappeared, then his first son is Pradyumna. Pradyumna's son is Aniruddha. And Aniruddha's son is Vajranam. So 3 generations below Krishna, Vajranam. He had a lot of love for his great-grandfather. So after Krishna disappeared, he requested Vishwakarma that please make deities of Krishna. I don't want people in the future to be bereft of Krishna's darshan. So primarily 3 deities were made. Many other deities were made, but 3 were threefold bending form with a flute. And these 3 deities were kept. And now we want to identify where the deities made exactly as Krishna looked, or these deities have some resemblance with Krishna. So only one person was alive because everyone from Dwarka submerged and the queens of Krishna were kidnapped. So Uttara is the wife of Abhimanyu. She was still alive and she had seen Krishna. So she is the only person who can verify that this Murti is actually looking like Krishna. So the legend goes that when she came in front of these 3 deities, she immediately pulled her pallu. Because for her, Arjun is her father-in-law and Arjun's friend is Krishna. So like Sasurji kind of. So he immediately pulled her. So this was confirmed. Yes, these 3 deities look like Krishna. And then she was requested, with due respect, you need to pull your pallu off and you need to identify clearly. So when she looked at one of the deities, she said, the part of this deity from the waist to the feet looks exactly like Krishna. So that it is Madan Mohan. Then she said, this deity from the waist to the neck looks exactly like Krishna. So that it is called Gopinath. And then she said, this third deity, the face exactly looks like Krishna, and that it is Govindji. So in case any one of you feel that Prabhu, we keep hearing about Krishna and you would really want to know 5,000 years back how did Krishna look, please make a trip to Jaipur And in Jaipur, Radha Govindji is still standing, and the face of Krishna is still available for you, and Gopinath is still available for you, and Madan Mohan is still available for you. So in case you have that anticipation, Krishna कैसे दिखते थे? So even today it is available. Just a question of making that endeavor. So this Govindji temple in Vrindavan, they went there, and near Govindji temple there was one Gopal temple, and this Gopal is also in threefold bending form and playing a flute. And both these Brahmanas, the elder one and the younger one, they got attracted to this Gopal. Actually, they wanted to move. They were on a parikrama, one darshan per day. But they just got so enamored with this Gopalji deity that they stayed back for 3 or 4 days there. Any one of you ever felt like that? That Krishna is looking so beautiful. Let's skip dinner. I won't go home, and let me just stay here and take darshan. So I also never had it. It's not that I'm checking you out. But one day, we should pray to Gopinath that may you attract our hearts in such a way that everything else pales in comparison. Not that it loses its importance. Not that our home is not a good place to go. Not that our meal is not a good thing to eat. But just that the attraction to Gopinath should increase so much that so many other things keep happening in our life and they should just pale in comparison. ठीक है, चलता रहेगा, background, right? So these two are fortunate Brahmanas. They got so attracted they decided to stay there 3 or 4 days more. And then, after that, this elderly Brahmana, he just became so overwhelmed by the whole experience. He said, see, you have been with me from Vidyanagar, from South India. In those days, to travel from South India to Kashi, Banaras, this Mathura, Prayag and all that, it means a lot of walking. No flights, no train. Want to switch off the fan? Yes. Where are the buttons? Okay. So how much walking will it take from South India to North India? Huh? Ages, right? So at least maybe 4 months or something, minimum. Constant walking. And during this time, this younger Brahman had actually served the elder Brahman like a elderly person. So that service attitude of that younger Brahman, it caught his heart. And he said, I have observed you. You have served me very nicely. I want to give you something. But what will I give you now? I have a very well qualified daughter. And I would want to give you my daughter in Kanyadan. So I want to offer my daughter in marriage. This younger Brahmani said, I don't even know you. Whether you are rich, poor, whatever. And I had no intention of getting your daughter for marriage. You know why I served you? He says, Brahmana sevaya Krishnera priti bada hoy. Brahmana severa. Krishnera priti bada hoy. Krishna is very happy when we serve some senior Vaishnava. Tahara santoshe bhakti sampada badaya. Bhakti sampad means the wealth of bhakti. It increases when Krishna is happy. And how is Krishna happy? When we serve his devotees. With the only intention of increasing my bhakti, I accepted a little bit of inconvenience in my life so that devotees can be convenienced. And the only reason was to give santosh to Krishna. That was the only reason. But he said, I know that. Especially when you serve somebody without anything in mind, selflessly, that attracts the heart more. Right? I am really attracted by your sincere service. I want to offer you my daughter in marriage. So this younger Brahman says, do you know the story of Bhishmak Maharaj? Bhishmak is the father of Rukmini. Rukmini is the chief queen of Krishna. So in essence, Bhishmak, the father of Rukmini, thought the only person worthy of my daughter is Krishna. And he revealed it to his eldest son, Rukmi. And Rukmi said, no way. Because Rukmi wanted to sell his sister. Sometimes in these big families, the daughter or the sister is seen as a commodity to strike some business relationships or maybe some strategic relationships. So in those days, he wanted some favors from Shishupal. And Shishupal is also a cousin of Krishna. So the same family, the big family, the famous family. But Shishupal se karenge, तो कुछ उसको फेवर मिलेगा. कृष्णा कैसे है? Krishna does not look at what you speak. Krishna is looking at the heart. So usually people don't pray to Krishna. People don't want a relationship with Krishna. In one of the purports in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada writes, usually it is seen that dacoits, they are always praying to Kali. Dacoits will never see praying to Krishna. Why? Because Krishna does not look at what you offer and what you speak. Krishna is looking at the heart. And Prabhupada uses this word there, purpose of the prayer. So Krishna looks at the purpose of the prayer. Krishna does not look at the prayer. So some of us may be very new and we may not even know proper way to offer a prayer and well composed prayers. But if you just go in front of Krishna and say, my dear Krishna, I am a fool number one. I don't know even how to approach you. I don't even know how to offer you a prayer. But I know that you are a very amazing personality. You are a very lovable personality. And I just want to do something for your pleasure. Please guide me. So it may be in broken words, it may be in broken sentences, the language may not be perfect, but still Krishna will accept that prayer. But you go with a very proper Sanskrit meter, singing a song, but you don't mean that song. Krishna will never even look at you. There's some Chinese devotees. I heard this, I haven't verified it. In English, Roman alphabet, how many alphabets are there? Sorry, I keep asking these dumb questions. But I'm just, I want to 26, okay. I heard in Chinese alphabets, there are 99 alphabets. But interestingly, somehow or the other, there is no alphabet for the sound R. So when Chinese devotees, for the first time, when they hear the Hare Krishna mantra, there's no R there. So the closest sound that they can pronounce, the tongue does not know. Like, Gujarati people sometimes, they will say, yeah, sir, sure. I sure becomes sir. One of my neighbors, her child was sleeping on the cot, the bed, right? Cot. Coat pe soya hai. So my sister said, coat pe kyun soya hai? Actually, childhood story. My sister is telling me, coat pe soya kyun hai? Right? So the Chinese people, the closest they can come to Ra is La. So in the beginning days at least, the Chinese people, they chant the Hare Krishna mantra, Hale Klitna, Klitna Klitna, Hale Lam, Hale. Now I'm asking you a question, when they're chanting this Hale Klitna, is Krishna recognizing this as a bona fide chanting of the mantra, or he's saying, excuse me, you are not chanting the mantra right. No credit to you. What do you feel? When you hear this, Mataji is saying, he considers it. This is our saving grace. Because none of us are having a perfect tongue, and I don't have a perfect heart, and many of us may not be having the right intentions. But if you just have this one intention right, that I want to please Krishna, and we may not be chanting mantras properly, and we may not be able to do seva properly. When we are making an offering to the Lord, sometimes we may offer it in an unclean container. Sometimes the salt is more, sometimes the chili is more, right? Things will go up and down. We are all prone to mistakes. But one mistake we should never do is that mistake of intentions. Krishna especially does not like mistake of intentions, but Krishna is alright completely with mistake of actions. तो गलतियां हमसे बहुत होंगी, लेकिन जानबूझ के अगर हम गलती करेंगे तो वो गलती सहन नहीं करते भगवान. लेकिन गलती से जब गलती हो जाती है तो भगवान तो होनी है. So we should be very careful with this part of our existence. This sometimes can go wrong, this sometimes can go wrong, this sometimes not often goes wrong, and this is all the time going wrong, right? But this part of our body, our existence is very, very important, especially when we want to have a relationship with Krishna. So we need to be very careful. So, we are coming to the story of Bhishmak Maharaj, that Rukmi wanted to, in one sense, trade off his sister in marriage to Shishupal. And Shishupal did not like Krishna. So that's why he kind of overpowered his father's will. You cannot marry my sister to Krishna, she'll get married to Shishupal. And what happened? Yeah, on the day of marriage, just a few hours before, Rukmini, she went to her family deity, Jagdamba, Parvati. In the nick of time, in the nick of time, Krishna came and stole away Rukmini. Right in the front, Shishupal. He just kept looking. How many of you would like to know why did Krishna do like this? मतलब वो last moment पे करने की क्या जरूरत थी? पहली आंखें चुरा लेते. Nobody wants to know, so we'll go ahead. You want to know? Who wants to know? Okay. Okay. So there's a very sweet history behind it. See, for us, Shishupal and Dantavakra are individuals. But from a historical perspective, they are the same Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Ravan and Kumbhakarna again appeared as Shishupal and Dantavakra. So Shishupal is Ravan. Yeah? So in the previous time, the same Rukmini is Sita. Right? So he had an attraction for Sita. And how did he do it? How did Ravan kidnap? But how in the absence of Ram, राम को मारीच के पीछे भेजा और झूठ बोल के उनको किडनैप किया, राइट? सो कृष्ण हैड दैट इन माइंड. ये यथा माम प्रपद्यन्ते ताम तथैव भज. As you approach me, I'll reveal accordingly. So he said, you are a cheat. You diverted me somewhere else and you kidnapped my wife. Of course, you cannot kidnap it any time. I'll give you the feeling that you came as close as possible. मतलब शादी तय हो गई है, अभी दूल्हा दुल्हन का चल रहा है, right? So Shishupal is thinking, what I could not do last time, the memories are there, right? This time I am doing it. And Ram को उस समय भेजा लेकिन कुछ हुआ नहीं and all that, but this time I want to do it. Just giving a rough analogy. You have some sweet you want to eat for the last 20 days. Right? It's Chaturmas or something. And the sweet is, I want to eat it. You're meditating on it. Finally, the sweet is there. You take it in your hand and you're about to put it in your mouth, and somebody just comes and takes away the sweet. So it is jalega na. So Ram said, how could you do this? You burnt my heart. How could you do this? So in response, I'm going to give you almost the same experience कि अब रुक्मिणी मेरी हो गई. ई बोल रहे थे, उधर भगा के लेके गए. He said, so that's how Krishna is. Putana came to kill him, but Putana is, in a motherly mode. So Krishna just took that. So Krishna has his different mathematics of dealing with people. So anyway, so he's saying, you remember the story of Bhishma Maharaj? The father wanted to give the daughter to Krishna, but the son overpowered him. Similarly, I know that you are a well-intentioned person and you're serious about marrying your daughter to me, but I don't think your son will agree, your family members will agree. And then he mentions, I'm not even from a very aristocratic family. I'm not even very well educated. I'm not even from a very cultured background. Now, if you see his words and if you see his behavior, there's a lot of difference there. On the journey, for no good reason, no swartha, he was actually serving this person. And when he was asked, why were you serving? What reason did he mention? Tahara santosha, bhakti sampada badaya. The wealth of bhakti increases when Krishna is happy, santosh, samadhan. And Krishna is happy when we serve seniors. So, he's a very cultured person. There is no selfishness. And it is for the pleasure of the Lord. What more do we want in a person that this person is selflessly trying to do something for the explicit purpose of pleasing the Lord? How rare it is for somebody to take a decision and do something for the pleasure of the Lord. For many of us, okay, I'll speak about myself. The intention is to please me. Incidentally, the pleasure of the Lord happens. तो मुझे कुछ खाना था, तो मैंने माना चलो अभी बनाता हूँ. बोलते हैं भगवान को भी भोग लगा दो. Right? So sometimes we use the Lord as a food purifier. We have a water purifier. We want to drink water, the water should be pure. But I want to eat dosa today. चलो dosa बनाते हैं आज. But did you offer it? Because Krishna is the food purifier. Right? How many times we cook to please Krishna? Means हमको किसी को भूख नहीं लगी है. Yesterday night was some big feast. We are all exhausted. But today, we want to make a meal explicitly for Krishna. And then you find out, somehow Krishna does not eat dosas. Yashodanandan Krishna, he's a Mathura Vasi, right? In Mathura, what do they eat? They eat dosas and medu vada and uttapa. What do they eat in Mathura? Imagine a 16-year-old boy of Vraj, Vrindavan, what will he eat? Just in a very natural way. Even if you're wrong, no problem. But let me know. Huh? Roti, paratha, kachori, samosa, vada, aloo ki sabji, right? So this is just a some introspection that are we leading a life of intentional pleasure of ourselves and incidental pleasure of Krishna, or are we leading a life of intentional pleasure of Krishna and incidental pleasure of ourselves? That will determine the quality of our devotion. So this is a thought for. So he is actually a very cultured person, no doubt about it. But he's saying, no, I'm not aristocratic, I'm not cultured, I'm not educated. I don't think you should speak like this. So what's the problem? ये जो old person है, he's going on speaking, I want to marry my daughter, and he's saying, don't speak. What is the problem? बोलने दो ना उनको, क्या problem है? Think about it. I think it's getting a little cold. Not you. One person gets one chance in this class. Yeah, I think. Is it getting cold there also? Yeah, it's getting cold. Just fan switch off kar do, yeah. One of the AC also. Yes. He's going on promising. No, मुझे बेटी देनी है, मुझे बेटी देनी है. Why is he objecting? Why is he no? Don't speak. Don't you know Bhishmak Maharaj? Don't you know I'm not aristocratic? क्या problem है? Do we experience this kind of a dealing today? If one person is speaking something and we have doubts whether that can be executed, it will actually come into reality or not. Do we stop that person? अरे बोलो मत. We say बोलो. So what's the subtle point that is happening there? Yes, it is that when you. Yes. So it's a conversation. It means not that you go on speaking and I'm just not concerned about what you're speaking. I'm attentive to what you're speaking and I respond. And also, if he's speaking something, speaking is serious business. Today we have disconnected speaking from behaving. I may speak a lot of things, but I don't behave like that. This younger Brahman is so cultured. He's saying, अगर ये बोल रहे हैं और ये अगर कर नहीं पाए, it's going to be a big disaster. How can Prabhu speak something and then because of some situation he's not able to do it? It's a big disaster for him. So I am preventing a disaster from happening in Prabhu's life by saying, don't speak. Whereas a disaster is not going to fall on me because I'm just listening. Disaster is going to fall on whom? The speaker. This younger Brahman is such an amazing personality. He's concerned that his words should not fall false. मतलब कितना महत्व है बोलने के लिए. How concerned this person is about the truthfulness, the integrity of this person. What is honesty? Anybody knows what is honesty? Simple. Honesty is you speak what you did. कहाँ थे कल शाम को आप कहाँ थे? Yesterday I was there. So what I did, I speak. And integrity is what I speak, I do. So these are two cousin brothers. जो किया वो बोलते हैं तो उसको बोलते हैं ऑनेस्टी, और जब बोला वो किया उसको बोलते हैं इंटेग्रिटी. So he is concerned about the integrity of this elder Brahman, and elder Brahman is probably not able to understand the seriousness of the situation. Don't speak, don't promise. This is a holy place. In a holy place you are speaking something, you will have to do it. And he knows the resistance that's going to come from the family members. But he says, no, I'm just so happy with you. I want to promise you something in the presence of this Gopalji deity. So they say, you are promising it. He says, yes, I'm just so honored by your good behavior. I want to promise you that I'll give you my daughter. He says, okay. And then he tells the deity, the younger Brahman, he says, you heard now what he spoke. So now you have to do the needful. But he knows for sure, ye to hone hi nahi wala hai. They both come home, South India, Vidyanagar. And then some days, for rest वगैरह हो गया. The elder Brahman is a very nice person. He is a gentleman. He didn't just fluff. ऐसे बोलने के लिए नहीं बोला, seriously बोला. So he gets his family members together and he says, you know what? This very, very nice, gentlemanly, younger Brahman, very dutiful, without understanding who I am. He just served me sincerely and he's just so, having so much faith in the deity. He said, आपको साक्षी देनी है अगर कुछ हो गया तो. So he's a devotional, he's cultured, he's a gentleman. What more do we want for a daughter? बोले कौन? तो बोले वो. तो बोले he is not rich. He does not have much money. So we don't want to give. But I promised. He said, the wife and the sons, they said, if you give our daughter to him, we will take poison and we will die. Itna bol diya. So this elderly Brahman, he understood why that younger Brahman was saying, don't speak, don't speak. So it seems he's also worldly wise also. So it is mentioned that he just meditated on the feet of Gopal at that time because he did not have an answer. So then this son of the Brahman says, I understand your predicament. So let's do one thing. If that Brahman comes and asks you, क्या हुआ? वो आपने कबूल किया था वो? You just say, I don't exactly remember. Old age? Sometimes you don't remember. So just bolo, I don't exactly remember what I spoke. And everything else I will take care. Once you speak that sentence, मैं उसको घुमा लूंगा पूरा and we'll work it out. So this elderly Brahman is thinking, if that younger Brahman goes to that Gopalji deity for Sakshi, and I saw how he looked at the deity and said, आपको Sakshi देना है. And if that Gopalji deity gives Sakshi, I will be ruined. Because then, the Lord is saying that yes, he spoke and he's a liar now. So हम लोग एक दूसरे को बोलते हैं, that's okay, but Lord. So now he is concerned about his dharma. And this is happening how many years back? It's just now. It's not Satya Yuga. It means that the younger Brahman has full faith on the deity. This elder Brahman has full faith on the deity. कि वो साक्षी देंगे बाद में मेरा पोल खुल जाएगा. But he says what to do. So he's just praying to the Lord. And then after some days, the younger Brahman comes to the home of the elder Brahman and he says, do you remember we traveled together? Yes. And you had promised me something? Yes. So what happened? Before he could speak a single thing, this son of the Brahman came with a stick in his hand, actually to beat aggressively. He said, oh, you are trying to cheat my father and you want to marry my sister. Out! So he ran behind him with a stick to beat him up. All this person could do was run away. But you can't argue with somebody who has a stick. So he had to run away. He ran away. He went to the Sarpanch. He went to the village elders and he brought them. And he said, this elderly Brahman is a very nice person. I served him and he promised me his daughter. And I kept on telling him, don't do it, don't do it. But he kept on saying yes, yes, yes. And now, after everything, he promised me his daughter. And now I have come and I'm asking him. And his son is accusing me that I'm speaking something false. So please do the needful. तो ये सब सरपंच वगैरह सब लोग हैं, ये लोग घर में आ गए और बोले, what is this younger Brahmana saying? Did you promise something? Before he could speak, the son came out. And the son said, actually my father is a very simple-hearted person. And this boy, he comes from a poor family. Is it not? So everyone said, yes, he's not coming from a rich family. He purposefully trapped my father by pleasingly serving him. बहुत अच्छे से सेवा किया. क्यों किया? To get favors from him. And after that, he drugged him. With something, he drugged him. And he stole all his money. And then, after stealing all his money, now he has eyes on my sister. Just see how crook he is. Now this money part was totally fabricated. But what happened is all the village elders, they know how the world works, and sometimes this is the reason why people make friendship with rich people. So till that point of time, the village elders were siding with the young Brahman. But when he spoke, कि चोरी किया इसे मेरे पिताजी का पैसे का, then they kept quiet, because sometimes it happens in this world. So now the whole onus is on the younger Brahman to prove that he's innocent. Then he says, okay, I'll tell everyone now. This incident happened in the Gopalji temple in Vrindavan. And that time only I had mentioned, don't do it. So that time I had mentioned, Gopalji, that you are a witness to all this, and if the right time comes, you will have to be a witness. So now I will go to Vrindavan and bring Gopalji as a witness. Now today if somebody tells you in some family disagreement, what will you say? You are having a disagreement with somebody in your own family or some acquaintances, and he says, now I will go to Gopinath temple and get the Gopinath deity to give his witness. What will you think? Your smile says it all. So similarly, The village people also, they started smiling. Some of them were atheists and they said, we know what's going to happen. He's a fool number one. But some of them were really devotional and some of them said, well, as far as we know, Krishna is a really very heart-centered person. So agar sach mein, if he is like a really pure person, Krishna will do the needful. Krishna is like that. So mixed responses amongst the villagers. And two people especially had very interesting responses. The elderly Brahman, when he heard this younger Brahman saying, I'll get a deity, he said, in his heart he's saying, yes, very nice. Why is this elder Brahman saying, yes, very nice? Because actually he wants to give his daughter to this Brahman, but his son is acting like that Rukmi and is trying to prevent it. And because of that, he has to basically go back on his words, which is not really comfortable for the elder Brahman. But apne bete ko bol nahi pa raha hai wo. So he's saying, if the deity comes, I will be saved. Main jhoota nahi hoga. So he says, yes, I will do it. And the son of the Brahman, he's saying, yes. But why is he saying yes? He is a complete atheist. He does not believe in God. He does not believe in Murti. He does not believe in the Murti coming as a witness. So the villagers are having fun. Ye to hone nahi wala hai. But two people said yes. Who? The son and the elder Brahman. Why did the elder Brahman say yes? Abhi main bachunga. Now I'll be saved from adharma. And why is the son saying like that? Kuch hone nahi wala hai. Good. So totally diverse reasons, but both of them are saying yes, we should do this. And this is to the benefit of the younger Brahman. And the younger Brahman says, now I will take this in writing here. अभी वापस इसका witness नहीं है, उसका witness Krishna है. So he brings out a paper, they write it. If the deity comes and deity says yes, marriage done. Okay? And with this full confidence, this younger Brahman again walks. How many months? Again he walks all the way to Gopalji. And there he goes in front of Gopalji and he says, you remember I had come and I had mentioned to you. So now the time has come, everything's gone for a toss. And now you have to come with me and you have to give witness. And because he's such a sweet person, he has so much faith, Krishna also answers. And the Murti says, but I am a Murti, I can't walk. So this younger Brahman says, if you can walk, if you can talk, then you can walk. पकड़ लिया. Friday was Rath Yatra, right? So 500 years back when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, he used to take participation in the Rath Yatra. So there is one book called Gauranga Kripa Kataksha, written by Raghunath Das Goswami, one of the saints of that time. So in that Raghunath Das Goswami, one of the verses, it mentions how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would participate in Rath Yatra. So one of the places says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come there, he would place his left hand on his waist, and then with his right hand he would wave to Jagannath. And when he would do that, he would bite his lips with his own teeth, like that. So it is described, he would do it. So now why would Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he's waving at Jagannath, bite his own lips with his own teeth? ऐसे क्यों करते थे? So the explanation is, when you catch somebody, when you trap somebody, then you say, अभी पकड़ा, right? ऐसा करते हैं ना? So Raghunath Das Goswami says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Radharani is saying, now I caught Krishna. तो अभी तो इनको लेके जाऊंगा मैं वृंदावन, right? That's the esoteric explanation of that Krishna in the mood of Radharani is looking at Krishna, Jagannath looking for Radharani, right? So अभी इनको पकड़ लिया, अभी मन के रथ पे बिठा दिया, mental रथ and carrying to Vrindavan, right? From Kurukshetra. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would bite his lip, अभी पकड़ लिया. So similarly, बोले if you can talk, then you can. So the deity is caught. अभी बोले क्या करेंगे अगर? Okay. So now what to do? I'll have to come. So yeah, you have to come with me. So do one thing, but when I'm walking with you, I have pile on my feet. So Krishna is a very, very, a person who likes to look good. And he will dress himself to the minutest detail. The cloth of the head will be very beautiful. And it will be of very contrasting colors and all. It's never, koi bhi kapda utha liya, pagdi bande. It has to be matching as per his clothes. And there will be beautiful matching necklaces in the neck. and some nice ornaments on the wrist, and everything is very pakka, because that is his duty. So why is it Krishna's duty to dress himself very, very beautifully? Who would like to answer this question? Yeah. So this is the second time you're answering. I said one. So, no, I'm just joking. I want others also to, but see, all of us have some kartavya, na? So a housewife's kartavya is to take care of the home. A businessman's kartavya is to make profits in the business. Student's kartavya is to increase the money. What is Krishna's kartavya? Actually, there is no kartavya. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. In 3rd chapter, Krishna says, Name parthasti kartavyam. I don't have any kartavya, but there is one kartavya. You know what? What is the kartavya of a father towards his children who have abandoned him? No. What is the kartavya? What is the duty of a father whose children have abandoned him and left him? No, let fathers answer. You are a son. You are not yet a father.
Bring them back home.
He's very nice. Yes. So this is how we actually, make bhakti real. It's not some esoteric thing. It's just relationship, right? So a mother, a father, feels for the son and the daughter who have walked out, saying, how should I get him back? How should I get her back? What should I do, right? So Krishna, when he's looking at this whole world, and he's looking, how should I get them back? So one way is when he dresses very beautifully, everyone likes beauty. So when people come there, I have seen Westerners, sometimes tourists who are visiting India, they don't know anything about anything in India. They just get on a cruise and the ship comes to India and some of the tour operators bring them to Gopinath. And they're usually in pairs, these Westerners, and they keep looking at Radha and Krishna. Because no other god in their country and in our country dresses himself, Shankar Parvati, but Shankar is not in a deity form, right? Ram and Sita Devi, but they are not. Krishna is Krishna, right? A threefold bending and flute and, a crown of Ram looks beautiful, a golden crown, and he's a king. But this Krishna's turban, colorful turban with some piece hanging here and there's a flower here and all, special significance, right? So I have seen, what to speak of Indians getting attracted to Krishna, I have seen these Westerners, they just can't take their eyes off Radha Gopinath. And even Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's time, this is 100 years back, one German person, he came in search of God to India because he heard India is all about spirituality. Chalo, India, chalo. So he came to India, he toured all the temples, he took darshan of all the deities. And then he met Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, for those who don't know, is a spiritual master of Prabhupada. He met him and he said, so what do you feel? So he said, I think the only God is Krishna. Now, usually Hindus are, guilty of one fault, that you have so many gods, whereas everyone else says that we have only one God, Hindu. So ये German को पूछा, अरे इंडिया में तो इतने सारे मंदिर है, why Krishna is God? Why are you saying like that? So he says, he's the only person who's enjoying. Everyone else has some weapons in their hand and they're doing something, they have to protect themselves. Only this one person is happy, just enjoying. So that means Krishna is God. So for a totally spiritually illiterate German, it was just very easy for him to understand Krishna is God. And these Westerners from America who come today, they feel it's just so attractive. So coming back to our point, so he's saying, I will follow you to South India, but you should not look behind. And how will you know that I'm walking? There is payal on my feet and they will make sound. So whole day I will walk behind you and the sound of the payal is proof that I'm walking, but you should not look behind. Trust is very important in relationships. If we start doubting any relationship, we start doubting, aisa kya, waisa kya, then they say, what? Foundation is trust. So मैं आ रहा हूँ तो मैं आऊँगा. पीछे नहीं देखने का. पीछे देखा तो खत्म. This Jagannath story also, that Vishwakarma was carving Jagannath deities, He said, I'll carve the deities, but you should not come and check out. And then Indradumna Maharaj, out of his anxiety, he walked in and then he found Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. So Krishna demands trust because Krishna is not an official God. Krishna is a relationship God. He wants a relationship with his devotees. So he said, don't look back. And every day you should offer me 1 kilo of rice. That's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So now if you wonder why 1 kilo of rice, we should ask Gopalji. तो 1 किलो चावल रख देना एंड छम 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 आवाज आएगी तो मैं आऊंगा चलते रहना आप करके सो इन दिस वे एवरी डे ही वुड ऑफर द बेस्ट राइस एंड गोपाल जी वुड ईट इट एंड गोपाल जी वुड वॉक एंड छम 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 साउंड वुड कम इन दिस वे दे रीच द बॉर्डर ऑफ द विलेज एंड नाउ दिस पर्सन इज थिंकिंग नाउ इफ आई गो इनसाइड एंड जस्ट इन केस ही डज नॉट कम second loot job. People will say he's a cheat. So I know I should not look back, but I have to look back. Otherwise, these villagers are going to pounce on me. So देखता है. So Gopalji was there. I said, I told you not to look. I'm not going to move now because you didn't trust me ना. तो अभी मैं मूर्ति बन गया. Now I'm not going to move. तो उधर ही रह गए वो. वैसे चलो कम से कम गांव तक तो आए. And this is 700 years back. So there is no JCB, there is no flatbed truck, there is no crane. So 7.5, 8-foot deity, stone deity, huge. What must be the weight of a stone deity which is 7.5 or 8 feet? This much big, huge. Like 500, 600 kgs. So without truck, without elephant, this poor Brahman cannot hire an elephant also. So if a deity which is that huge and which is that heavy is suddenly there outside the village, it means two things. Either somebody brought it, but उसके पास तो poor है वो, उसके पास और कोई है नहीं गांव में लाने वाला. You have some, duty आते तो मतलब बैंड बाजा होता है, right? When Nita Ambani comes to the temple, there are a lot of security guards and all. This 500 years back, deity comes तो बहुत बड़ा होगा. There's no other way than what the Brahman is saying, that the deity walked. So he came there, he went inside the village, he brought all the people to the border of the village and said, just see, the deity has come. And they said, it's really amazing that this Brahman went all the way to North India and convinced the deity to walk. And they didn't doubt. They didn't say झूठ बोल रहा, कुछ तो है, artificial intelligence use करके कुछ तो किया है, some virtual reality goggles निकालो, सच में है क्या, ऐसा है ना? They actually believed, yes, the deity has walked. And then the deity gave Sakshi, yes, actually in front of me, all this had happened and this elder Brahman had promised, so अभी शादी करा दो करके. So actually the marriage took place. And then after the marriage, they both went to the Lord, the elder Brahman and the younger Brahman, and they said, we are just so happy that we were caught in a very difficult situation. The elder was caught for different reasons, and he was caught in a difficult situation for his reasons. But how you manage the whole thing? कि इसका धर्म भ्रष्ट नहीं हुआ. He was not convicted of being a liar and a thief, false allegation, and it's son of a Brahman. He did not have to take some unnecessary action of beating somebody and all that. So how you did all this? We are really amazed. So that time the deity talked to these two Brahmanas, saying, actually I'm just so touched by your truthfulness, that you are so concerned about the truthfulness of your words, and you are my really eternal devotees, and I want to give you something. So usually in all the prayers, the worshipper is asking, kuch de do baba, kuch de do. And then the person who's being worshipped looks at them, do ki nahi do, qualified, not qualified. And very interesting, in the Vaishnava scriptures, many times you will see this, the Lord will ask the devotee, please ask something, I want to give you something. And what does the devotee say? I got you. Now what more do I want? If you get a rich person, why would you want something from his wallet? So Prahlad, when he goes in front of Narasimha, then Narasimha says, Prahlad, I'm just so happy with you, ask something. And he says, I'm not a trader. I'll give you my bhakti, I'll take some money from you. I don't want anything. No, ask something. Prahlad, I want to give you. Give me the happiness of giving to you. Please do some daan. Who's asking? Yeah, usually the jivas, they ask for daan from the Lord. The Lord is asking the daan from the devotee. मुझे happiness दो तुमको देने का. Because in a relationship, you want to give something. Gifting is a form of expressing your relationship, your happiness. So what does Prahlad say? You know what, my father, he was not really understanding your position. So sometimes he spoke some things against you and he behaved improperly with you. All I want is, you want to give me, right? So all I want is, please forgive him. And what does Lord Narasimha say in response to this? He said, what to speak of forgiveness? Prahlad, you are such a pure devotee. 21 generations are already liberated. Forgiveness kaha? Mukti de di unko. Who? 21 generations. So there is a very nice advantage of keeping quiet. Now, when we ask something, we end up asking as per our limited intelligence, right? You know, there was a bunch of small kids and they went to a neighboring shop and ऐसे वो मतलब कांच के बर्तन रहते हैं और उसमें attractive chocolates रहते हैं. That's especially to entice the children. So there was this jars, glass transparent jars of chocolates. And these kids came. And the kid said, Uncle, ये चाहिए. So उस दिन अंकल का मूड अच्छा था. हमेशा तो देते नहीं थे. तो बोले चलो आज मेरा बर्थडे है. तो उसको ढक्कन खोल दिया. मैं बोले ले लो. So one kid put his hand there, took out. Another kid came, took his hand, put out. So ऐसे सब लोग ने ले लिया. One girl, she was just waiting there. अरे ले लो तुम भी लो. नहीं अंकल आप दो. अरे ले लो बेटा कुछ शर्माओ मत. आज तो मेरा बर्थडे है ले लो. हाँ अंकल लेकिन आप दो. So he went, ऐसा क्यों इतना मैं प्रॉमिस कर रहा हूँ. तो क्यों मैं क्यों दूं. अंकल आपका हाथ बहुत बड़ा हाथ है. When I take my tiny hand तो 4 चॉकलेट आएंगे. आप देंगे तो 40 चॉकलेट. It's simple. So why don't we ask from God? हम जब मांगेंगे, our tiny intelligence can think of some tiny things, something that is perishable. What will we ask? एक एग्जाम में अच्छे मार्क्स दे दो, right? How many of you feel your 10 standard marks, which were very very important that year, right? SSC, HSC, graduation and all that. First class आया कि second class आया graduation में? How much of those marks matter in today's times? Anybody? Who cares? Right? Oh, but 10th marks are very very important. 15 days time period when you want to take admission for 11. 12th marks are very important when you want to take for graduation. Graduation was very. Or आज, if you ask, I don't even remember. It was 75, 76, maybe it was 67. Does not matter, right? Similarly, all these big things that are mattering to us right now, and we go in front of Gopinath, मैं माला करूंगा लेकिन वो कर दो, मेरा काम कर दो, right? And today it is like the hottest topic for us and very important for us. Believe me, 5 years from now, what you are asking from Gopinath today, in a very strong-willed way, it won't matter to you in your life. And our whole life, we might spend asking millions of such tiny things which are of tiny importance in a tiny amount of time. But we can be like that small girl. So what do we go and ask Gopinath? In an equivalent way, what should we ask? Anybody? Learning from the small child.
Whatever you want, you do.
Give us faith. And also, we could ask, if you think something is missing in my life, your intelligence is very special. So yes, we should ask for faith, and we should also ask, if you think something is really missing in my life, something can actually, make my relationship with you much stronger, please give me that also. How many of you go to the doctor? Mataji is a doctor. You're a doctor, right? Yeah. So we go to a doctor and we say, so थोड़ा neck pain है और रात को थोड़ा back pain होता है, तो एक नीली गोली देना और 2 पिंक कलर की गोली देना, and dinner के लिए I prefer the white one. ऐसा होता है माताजी? नहीं? So what happens when a patient comes to you? What do you usually say? You speak. Oh, sorry, I didn't know that. I thought patients only speak. ये गोली चाहिए. So usually when you go to Gopinath,
sometimes you look up Google and
So you ask her, how does it feel? कोई गूगल डॉक्टर गूगल के पास जाके आपके पास आएगा तो आपको कैसा लगता है? Insulting. So now think about it. We are like patients. Bhavarog, selfishness, greed, lust, anger. These are all diseases much deeper than this pain in the neck and pain in the waist. And we go to Gopinath. I say, I want this, I want this, I want this. So Gopinath says, excuse me? Who's supposed to speak? You tell me what is going on in your life and I'll give you the medicine. Like Mataji is saying, I'll give you the medicine. And Mataji is saying sometimes they look up Google. So some of us will go through some religious books. Yeah? ऐसा अच्छा है ये मांगते हैं उसने मांगा था ये होगा. We do our Google and we do Gopinath and we tell Gopinath. I would want this in the next 6 months. And for the 6 years after that, I think this is something which will be good for me. So Mataji is saying she feels insulted. So Gopinath insulted if you give him the remedy for your diseases. What does a good patient do in front of a doctor? Yes. He says, this, these are my symptoms. Baki aapke haath mein. Where pink pill in the afternoon or pink pill in the evening, you decide. Before food or after food, you with water, without water, everything, you tell me what. So we go to Gopinath and we have full adhikar to speak our heart out. And then at the end we say, what do you feel is good for me? Do you want to give me the sweet medicine of appreciation? Some syrups are sweet, yes? So do you want to give me the sweet medicine of appreciation? Do you want to give me the sweet medicine of getting a raise in my company salary? Do you want to give me the sweet syrup of some nice experience? Or do you want to give me that bitter, some medicines are bitter, of somebody speaking ill about me unnecessarily? Because if that is the medicine which the doctor feels, any one of you undergone any Ayurvedic therapy? I don't know why, but I have yet to come across any sweet Ayurvedic medicine. Is it true? So there are two kinds of medicine. One is that syrup allopathy, which is usually sweet, sugar वगैरह रहता है, and Ayurvedic तो मतलब ना वो काढ़ा उसको पानी में mix और फिर boil करो. It's quite, sometimes when you are taking the medicine, even people around you get affected by that fragrance. So some medicines are bitter, some medicines are sweet, but if you have faith in the Vaidya, if you have faith in the doctor, believe me, you will get cured. So it takes a very, very, deep faith and a little bit of, putting your hands on your heart and going in front of Gopinath and say, Gopinath, I'll just share my part of the story. And you decide what you want to do with me. Do you want to give me nice, happy experiences or do you want to purify me of my ego? मैं सोचता हूँ मेरे जैसा यहाँ पे कोई नहीं है. So sometimes Gopinath, out of his concern for you, what happens if you go to a doctor and you're overweight? What does the doctor do? Right? So, does God look at our body or God looks at the Atma? Right? So sometimes we put on extra flab, extra weight around the soul also. Right? So one extra weight is this waist and a lot of flesh. But Krishna doesn't look at the flesh, right? Krishna तो body के देखते हैं, तो क्या देखते हैं? So sometimes we are fat inside, body is thin, nice fit body, but inside there's nobody as good a singer as me. The way I dress Gopinath, sorry, I have to be honest. Nobody likes me. When I cook that halwa that you eat, Mataji, there's nobody else who can cook that halwa, right? So sometimes we may be very exceptionally fit and fine in our lipid profile and our cholesterol levels and all that, but the ego is hugely overweight. And just like a good doctor says, Prabhu, I think you need to reduce your waistline. You need to slim down. You need to run. So how does the ego ka jogging kya hai? So somebody whom we look up to, somebody whom we trust, sometimes speaks some good, sweet correction words to us. And because we have trust on that person, we have to swallow it. We don't have a choice. Don't think you're smart. Cool down. And that day, we should remember Krishna as the Vaidya, as a doctor. He's my well-wishing doctor. He's trying to cut down on my obesity. There's a spiritual obesity also inside. We just know of this bodily obesity, not good for us. Similarly, Krishna is concerned about our egoistic obesity also. So bitter medicine, sweet medicine, whatever it is, but Krishna is the best doctor. Believe it or not. So Krishna organized this whole thing in such a way, he adjusted everything in such a way, the younger Brahman's problem was solved, the elder Brahman's problem was solved, the son of the elder Brahman, he also could not do anything because Krishna came all the way and did Sakshi. So Krishna adjusted the whole situation in such a way that the devotees are not put into inconvenience. So that's how we started. That devotees usually act in such a way that Lord does not get into any inconvenience, but sometimes the Lord also acts in such a way that nobody is put into any inconvenience. So this is how Krishna is really amazing, and we should always remember that Krishna in the Murti form is always a person. So next time you get your doubts, is Krishna really looking at me? Is Krishna actually a live person? Remember this story. If you are a very sincere devotee, Krishna can walk for you. What to speak of bless you with his eyes. So his vision is very, very auspicious, and he is always blessing his devotees. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Sorry for going over time. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.
Thank you.